Hey guys, welcome to the very first episode. This is crazy. This is the first time I'm saying it like for real, for real. Welcome to the very first episode of the Unlocked podcast. This is insane. So, the Unlocked podcast, high key, low key, was supposed to be established like 4 years ago. I'm so sorry. It's 7 years ago. But we are here. And we're doing this thing. I was telling Christina the amount of sweat that my body is producing right now is insane. I'm super nervous, not gonna lie, but I'm excited to do this. Yeah, I am genuinely excited to do this. This has been, like I said, in the works for 4 years for me, 7 years for other people. But yeah, we're here. We're doing this thing, and we're gonna make this thing happen. So real brief background to the Unlocked podcast, why I'm doing this podcast. Is essentially what the name says. I want to unlock certain conversations, certain topics that 20-somethings, 30-somethings are like experiencing and going through. Topics that people don't typically talk about, or you don't hear much about it. Whether it's because it's unpopular opinion, or whether it's just like a shame thing. Like people don't talk about it because it may not like look good, or like on social media, like you see it one way and you don't see the people that aren't experiencing those high moments. So just kind of like shining a light on it and just unpacking and talking about different things. I will say a disclaimer. This is my experience. I am not a licensed therapist. So please do not say, well, Desirae said. But at the same time, I want to not only dwell on the problem, but also highlight the solution. I don't want this to be just like a venting session of this is how I feel. And granted, I will share like my thoughts and my feelings and personal like experiences. But I want it to be very much solution based. I want it to be, here's how to overcome, or just being completely transparent and just saying, I haven't figured that out yet. And then that will allow you guys to like share with me on things that you have done to like overcome and stuff like that. This is I hate saying safe space. But this is what I want. I just want transparency. I want you to know that you're not alone. And we're just figuring this thing out called life together. And we're unlocking it. And we're thriving. And we're doing this thing. So that is the very quick, not so quick explanation as to how Unlocked Podcast came to be. Also, quick side note. About a year ago, I had locks. So it would have been cuter. It would have been cuter if I like have my locks and then it's like unlocking with the host of someone that like has locks. So that's why it's spelled like UNLOC apostrophe D, because I was trying to play on the word of like locked. But you know, we're here now, comb them out, you know, and that's okay. But so yeah, that is. Yeah, I am unlocked. Boom. See, I knew it would fit somewhere somehow. But yeah, so that's what this is. So the reason why it took me so long to start this podcast is because I didn't see it for myself. And the reason why I didn't see it for myself is because I didn't feel like I had what it took to do this. I had a lot of people, one primarily, very strong-willed person, suggest that I do a podcast. And I think it was just kind of like, oh, okay, like, yeah, that's cute, whatever. But I didn't take it seriously. But then also I didn't feel like I was qualified enough to do it. By whose qualification? I don't know. But that is why it took me so long to do it. I didn't feel like anyone really wanted to know what I had to say or my thoughts or my opinions, or the fact that I haven't overcame the things that I would want to talk about. So like, why would I talk about it when I haven't like mastered it myself? So I didn't feel qualified. A lot of thoughts ran through my head. So that is why it took so long to do. But that leads me to the topic that I wanted to start off today, talking about intrusive thoughts. I was hesitant to even start off, I won't say deep, but start off in this direction, because I was like, oh yeah, episode 1 is going to be like adulting and like happiness and like all these things. But I think it was just really, really pressing on me to talk about the thing that I most struggle with. But then also realizing that a lot of people around me are dealing with the exact same thing. And just realizing like, okay, this isn't just happenstance. This isn't just something that, oh yeah, that's, you know, Barbara and Sally and like little Jimmy over there. We just happen to be going through the same thing. But why is it that we're going through the same thing? So it was pressing on me. And so, yeah, I want to talk about intrusive thoughts, thoughts that come into your mind, kind of like how I was talking about the reason why I didn't start the podcast at first. Thoughts of like not feeling good enough, thoughts of nobody will listen, thoughts of I'm not worthy, all these different type of things that kind of like bombard us and keep us in a place. Mind you, I'm talking to myself too. Keep us in a place of stagnation. Stagnation a word? We're going to go with it. And if it's not, then hey, we make up words here. I think it's a word. It sounds pretty legit. But those thoughts keep you in a place of stagnation. And anything that sits for a very long time begins to smell. So I found myself in a place of stagnation, not feeling like I can do anything, not feeling qualified to do anything. Podcast aside, not feeling qualified to do anything. I feel like once those thoughts come in one part of your life, it quickly spreads into other areas where you find yourself not doing anything at all, or just being comfortable in the place that you're at. And when I tell you this place that I'm at currently in front of you on March 1st is the most uncomfortable thing. I was telling Christina as she was like setting up everything. Everything in me wants to leave right now and get up and walk out. Kind of like Matthew on Love is Blind. And if you haven't watched it, I'm so sorry. But he gets up while old girl talking and just leaves. It's giving Matthew. I'm giving, and I'm not talking about Matthew in the Bible. I'm talking Matthew from Love is Blind season 6. Earlier, it was giving Matthew. I just wanted to get up and just walk out. And I'm at home. So I would have left Christina at my house, got in my car, and went God knows where. I don't know. But I would just left. But this thing that I'm doing is so uncomfortable. So the fact that I'm countering like those thoughts and those feelings of wanting to stay comfortable and not do the thing is exactly how you operate and thrive in the place that God has called you to. And then those of you that do not know, side note, I am a Christian. So a lot of things that you're going to hear on this podcast is very much Christ-based, Christ-centered. So just letting you know now. But yeah, so when you're staying in the place of not doing anything, you cause yourself to be stagnant, and anything that's stagnant smells, and you're not growing. You're not thriving and becoming the person that God has called you to be. I remember, I think it was in church, one of the messages. And I remembered the pastor saying, someone is waiting for you. And when he said it like multiple times. And, you know, when you hear a thing, it's like, yeah, okay, like, that's cute, you know. But one time he said it, and I got a little emotional, which is not unorthodox for me. But when he said it, I think it just hit different. If I postpone what it is that I'm called to do, it's not just affecting me, it's affecting the person or the people that is waiting for me to do the thing. And who knows, by me doing the thing, it will unlock what it is that person is supposed to do. So when he said it, it just really hit home. And mind you, that wasn't like last week. That was a little ways ago. So I let some time go by since I heard the message up until now. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, it's fighting the urge to stay in the same place. Another thing that I noticed, that when you allow the intrusive thoughts to come in, the lies begin to take root. And lies then, if you believe a lie for so long, it becomes truth to you. It's kind of like a person that lies and they be lying all the time. They don't know the difference between a lie and the truth, because to them, the lies that they're telling is the truth. Like, they forgot the original story. And I feel like we do that, if not all the time, where we believe the lies, and now we're so far gone from the original plan and the original truth that now the lie just becomes the truth in our minds. It's kind of like, I don't know about you, but as a as a kid, so as a kid, I wasn't allowed to listen to secular music. By no means. I remember the first time I got an NSYNC CD, and my older cousin burned it for me. And I thought I was out here. I was listening to Bye Bye Bye. It was I don't know what album it was, but the one with the no strings attached, that one. Man, you gonna tell me nothing. NSYNC. You could not tell me anything. And I remember that time, a lot of times I used to hear like songs on the radio or whatever, and you couldn't go back. So if I missed the words, I would just make up words. And I would be like singing, they'd be like, or you would just make up a word. And then you realize when you get older, like, what's dude's name? Not Mario. Is it Mario? It has to be Mario. She's fine, but I want you. Lloyd. It was Lloyd. The whole dispute of like 5'2" and fine 2. I still don't know what it is. It's fine 2. So I was saying 5'2", and I remember I was saying 5'2" because my mom is 5'2", and I remember being like, "Oh, like he like girls my mama height," and I remember that. So growing up, I used to sing that, and so now as an adult, I'm still singing 5'2", and then I realized people are like, "It's not 5'2", it's fine 2." So now programming my mind to switch it to fine 2, it's not fine 2. I've been singing 5'2" for years. So what do you mean? Now all of a sudden you telling me that the lyrics is fine 2. So it's kind of like that, to where like you were believing the lie, though it wasn't intentional, though I didn't mean to like mishear the song, but I began to like give my own lyrics to the song. Now all of a sudden I have to switch gears, and it's like, it's hard to unhear it. It's hard to like now pivot to like this next idea or whatever. So like the same thing with the lies. It's like somewhere, somehow in the beginning, whether it was childhood or whether it was the beginning of like something new in your life, a lie was embedded, whether it was someone that told you, whether it was enemy, whether it was you yourself, and you've just believed the lie. Now it's hard to decipher when the lie started. And now that you know truth, it's hard now to switch the real truth into your circumstance. I really hope that makes sense. It makes sense in my head. But yeah, I know also a lot of times when we begin to believe the lie, it causes us, like I said earlier, to stay in a place of stagnation. But in that stagnation, what's the word I'm looking for? We allow the enemy to throw punches. I remember I don't remember if it was you, probably, because you know pretty much everything that's happening with me. But it was a period in time in my life where I felt like the enemy was just throwing punches. And I was just taking it. And it was just overwhelming because I felt like what I was doing to counter wasn't really having an effect. So it just felt like at every toss and turn, like it was just punch, punch, punch. And I'll be down and I'll still get thrown with stuff. So nothing will let up. And I remember just being like in a super dark place. But it started with the thoughts of lies that was in my head. And then it kind of like manifested into like this place of like depression, this place of like heaviness. Oh goodness, that's a whole series in itself. A place of heaviness, a place of like, I'd say depression. I get a little funny when people say the word depression, because there's a difference between depression and there's a difference in being like sad. But it felt like a weight, like a tangible. It wasn't just like, oh, like, it was like this pillow is on my lap and I feel it on my lap. It was a tangible feeling to where it was just like surrounding me. But it started from a thought and it started from a lie, and it kind of manifested into this way of living and this way of being. When you chew on a lie for so long, it becomes your reality. When you allow the enemy to give you your identity and to speak to you who he thinks you are, you become the thing because you're not believing truth. So the same way that you believe the lie and you begin to live out the lie is the same way that if you decide to believe truth, you begin to live out the truth. But again, the hiccup is switching your mindset, switching from 5-2 to find 2. And so it's hard to make the switch, because even now I hear the song and I'm still like 5-2, find 2. I have to like make a conscious effort to make the shift. And I think that's the same thing in our walk with God. I forgot who I was telling. I'll be telling people a lot of stuff. I was telling someone that one thing that I do not, I'm trying to tread lightly, but at the same time, my personality, I don't want to. But the one thing that I don't like about us as believers is that we make it seem, as soon as you say the words of, God, I invite you into my life, and you become a child of God, that it's just smooth sailing and that we won't be faced with things. Because I feel like a lot of times when you're hearing the message from the platform, you perceive the person to have it all together. And so when that is what you see, you feel as though no one else is going through what you're going through. And I'm not saying by any means, because there's very few people that know truly what it is that I have gone through in my life and still currently facing. I'm not saying like tell everybody your business and everyone from the pulpit should just be 100% vulnerable and transparent, because not everything is everybody's business. But what I am saying, the conversation of, hey, if anything, as a believer, once you make that decision, the enemy is now pissed. And now he really has it out for you. And his mission is to steal, kill, and destroy, like big time. And that this walk is not easy. And I always remember my mom telling me, like, it's a daily walk. It's like a daily decision. It's like, and like you hear it and it's like, yeah, okay. Yeah. But high key, you feel like because you made the decision for Christ, everything will kind of like be easier than what it is, to where you won't have to like, what am I trying to say? By just giving it to God, it's going to be fine. Yes, but it's the decision to give it to God. So like my decisions that I make today, tomorrow, I'm going to have to make those decisions for tomorrow. So it's like when they say it's a daily walk, it's a daily like surrendering. It's a daily surrendering. Like I can't just be like, okay, God, this is my yearly surrender. Like, let me just pay this once and it should last me for the rest of the year. No, it's a daily decision, because every day you're faced with something different. So it's like, okay, let's say someone pissed me off at work. And my initial thought, my initial like flesh is to like let them know about themselves. And let them know about themselves and let them know about themselves. But it's a decision to refrain from doing that and to exhibit the characters of God. I think we have it in our minds that when we make the decision for Christ, we will no longer have those feelings. And that is where we go wrong. To where it's not that you won't have those feelings, or you'll just be in this la la land like, I love everybody and no one pisses me off. And I don't have like these fleshly desires to mouth off. And like, I don't, exhibit this and, whatever. It's like, no, you're going to have that. But the only difference now is, what is your decision to counter those feelings? So like I said, it's a daily decision. It's a daily like dying to self. But sometimes it's hard when the lies seem louder than the truth. And when you can't see or hear anything past the lies or past the thoughts, it's hard to like fight. And even that word fight, what does that fight really and truly look like? And I think that as I'm getting older, I'm realizing like, you know how like your parents tell you stuff? And it's kind of like when you grow up, it's like, yeah, okay, like that's just mom being mom. And I reference my mom a lot because like she is and truly like the voice of reason since I was younger, as far as like everything like biblical. And you kind of just brush it off. But like she always used to tell me it's a washing of the word. And it would just be like, okay, yeah, I read my Bible, like whatever. But like a washing, if you think of taking a shower It's a washing of your mind with the word. And that's exactly, of course, where your thoughts stem. It starts with your mind. So what are you doing to counter it? What are you doing to rid yourself of the lies and fill it with truth? Is a washing of the truth. Just like when you take a shower. I don't know about you. I think it's as I'm getting older. I be looking forward to like going home and taking a nice hot shower, light my candle. It's a whole experience. It's not just like, let me pop in and pop out. No. It's what scent do I want today? And let me light it. And then sometimes I don't want a lot of light. I just want, because like in my bathroom, you can have like the main light and then there's a light just over the shower, but then the rest of the bathroom is dark. So you got to set the mood. It's a whole experience. And then you go in the shower and you're just like, yes. I'm a hot water girl. So I love, like, it can't be like cold. I know people be doing like the cold plunge and the cold. That's cute. Y'all can have that. I want it burning. I want it like hot, like steam. It's a whole thing. And I'm in there and it feels so good, especially when you had the longest day to stand. Sometimes I just stand there. I joke with my mom and I'm like, I'm going to get a chair and I'm going to just sit. And she's like, that's what old people do. I'm like, well, I'm doing it for a different reason. You just want to sit and just like bask in like the goodness of the shower. And then you have your good soap. Y'all sleep. You have your Dove and the one with the beads in it. It's a whole thing. And just standing there and just allowing like the shower to like come over you. It's a whole experience. So like when you say like a washing of the word, it's like washing off the old, like the oldness and the dust and the grime of the day, the dust and the grime of your mind throughout that whole day with the word. And sometimes you read the word and don't nothing happen. I'm going to be real with you because people don't tell you that. There's so many times like I pick this thing up and I'm in there and I'm crying. You see the tear stains on the pages and I'm in that mud like, wash me, Jesus. I'm very literal. Like my mind is very analytical too, to where like, yeah, I tend to overthink things sometimes, but then also like I'm very like in my head. So when I hear washing, like in my mind, I see my brain and it's just water. Like I'm very visual like that. So I'm in there and I'm reading and I'm like, yeah, Jesus. And like, you know, I'm in there. And then like after, like I still feel it. And I go back and I'm like, wait, okay, maybe it wasn't hard enough. And like, and I'm not saying this just to be funny. This is how this is, if I set up a camera in my room, this is like what I actually do. But sometimes like I don't feel it. And I know I'm kind of like, I feel like I'm on point, but I'm kind of like all over the place because I feel like it's a lot of thoughts. But sometimes I don't feel it. And that's something, as a person that is a feeler, I have to learn that just because I don't feel him doesn't mean that he's not doing a thing. And again, my mind now gets in the picture, and it's hard to be okay with that because I associate feeling with him. So I go in the word and I'm like reading, and it's like, okay, I'm not feeling nothing. I still feel the thing. I still feel the emotion. I still feel the lies. I still like, you know, I feel it, but like I have to trust that though I may not feel that immediate release does not mean that he's not still doing the thing on the other side of it. I was talking to, I'm not going to say her name, but I was talking to a friend of mine. We went out, and she was telling me about, you know, like her life and stuff like that. Just catching up. And she began to tell me like some of the lies that she was beginning to believe. how it kind of stemmed, just how I said, like, it begins to like flow into the other areas of your life. You find yourself like downcast and like depressed and heavy and crying all the time. It's like a whole thing because it trickled into every area of your life. And I'm sitting there and I'm listening. And I think, I don't want to say I pride myself, but like, I'm not like judgmental because I know my life and I know the things that I've done, things that I've like experienced. And I don't want to like make anyone feel like less than. So I always tell people, I'm like, you can tell me anything, because people are like, oh, like, I don't know if I can like say like I feel. I'm like, girl, you can tell me like whatever it is. And she's telling me, and I'm like pissed. Like, I don't think I've ever felt that before, to where I'm like legit like pissed. Like, I feel like the anger rising within me. And like she's telling me, and like, you know, and I can understand everything it is that she's facing, because I have faced it or I am currently facing it. So like the imagery that she's giving me, the feeling, the emotion, the state of mind, everything that she's telling me, I'm getting, and I find myself being like super pissed. So once she got done telling me like everything that was happening, I just began to go in. And it wasn't that I was talking to her as a person. It was as if I was talking to the spirit of lies. And I don't say I hate, but I kind of hate that I'm going into like, you know what? No, I don't. I love Jesus. It was it was like I was talking to the lies that she began to believe, because I know like what it feels to believe the lies, and I know what like my pillowcase looks like at certain like times in my life where it's soaking wet. Like, I know the feeling, and the fact that like he was trying it with someone that like I know, and having them believe it, I was pissed. And I just began to like speak life into her. And mind you, I'm coming from a place of overcoming. There's a lot of things that I've overcome, but then there's also a lot of things that I am overcoming. But it was like this righteous anger that like came up within me, and I just began to like speak life over her. You know what I mean? Like the fact that like these lies are beginning to like take root, and she's beginning to like live this like life that was not meant for her. Like, I was like, nah, bruh. No. Like, I may not be where I want to be, but look, I know a couple things, and I'm taking you with me. Like, no, you're not about to believe this. But I truly think that if we start with countering the lies with truth, we will begin to see a difference in our lives. Not necessarily an immediate, but over time, we will begin to see the fruit of the word of God. And this is not where I plan to go with this. I didn't even plan on having the Bible right here. I just pulled it out real quick for a reference. And I was like, we're not going there. But I guess Holy Spirit was like, shoot, we go. I tell you, come on. But yeah, man, I really and truly hope that this episode, if not just this podcast in general, just speaks to you and just affects you in the most positive way. And that you get something out of not just this episode, but this podcast in general. But before I leave y'all, I want to leave you with this verse. It is John 14:27. And I'm reading the contemporary English version. Didn't even know that was a version. And it says, I give you peace, the kind of peace only I can give. It isn't like the peace this world can give. So don't be worried or afraid. The part that sticks out to me in this is the worried part. A part of believing the lies, you find yourself in a constant state of worry. I've been in a place of like looking up what words mean too. So I looked up the word anxious or anxiety, and the word worry was like right behind it. And so when I read this verse, the word worried stood out to me because it is like you're constantly in a state of worry. But when he says this peace that only he can give, it isn't like the peace this world can give. So do not be worried or afraid. So it's just making a decision to practice the peace of God and allowing him to just do a fresh and a clean washing of what it is that you're experiencing. And do not be worried and do not be afraid. So I wanted to leave you guys with that. And I think this went really well. Episode 1 is in the books. When I get up, it will be some sweat on this couch. But look, we did it. And we is here. I felt like this went good. I hope you watching it, in your living room, in your car. I hope you felt like this went good too, because look, we is in this together, okay? So yeah, make sure and like, comment, and subscribe. If you guys have questions or topics or anything like that, please message me. You can find me on Instagram at truly.desirae. That's truly.desirae. Yes, I spelled my name with the AE, not an EE. And just let me know, because I really want this to be a place that we can dive into topics and stuff together. It's not just me telling you a thing or sharing with you a thing, but it's you teaching me and showing me as well. So make sure and do that. And until next time. Let me do that again. I feel like I took so much time trying to figure out the intro. I haven't figured out the outro. So bye. No, just joking. So until next time, I'll see you guys later.